All right. Welcome to another is it episode or session Driving Beyond Borders with Nnamdi. My name is Nnamdi Henacho and I am your host for today. And I'm excited. It's one of the today's topic is exciting because it's community is the real green card. How connections create opportunities, how connections create opportunities. And this is kind of building on what the conversation I started having last week. Last week I was talking about while you're waiting, right? While you're in that season, while your paperwork is processing as you're transitioning to your status, what you need to be doing. And I was explaining that it meant that season was a season of waiting and you should use that to prepare so that once you have your papers, you're ready to go. You're ready to hit the ground running. You can pursue your dreams. You can pursue the opportunities that are available to us as immigrants here in the United States. And so that was my conversation last week. So today it's still in line with giving us the correct mindset, right? The real power for us here as immigrants is community, right? It's community is the real green card, right? And I said how connections create opportunities. There is so many examples and stories I can tell you, right? Everyone who has thrived successfully as an immigrant here in the United States that I know of who's done well has done it and leveraging the power of community. I'm telling you, right? Leveraging the power of that network of us. It is something we are our first customers. Your first business, you're likely selling to people from the community. The places your kids go to school, it's probably recommendations from people within the community. Career career options you explore, the career opportunities that we go into, the career paths we take. We always go in bunches. It's a product of the community. I can't tell you how many referrals that we've had lead to opportunities within the African American Collective. So I can go on and on sharing stories about the power of community and how it opens doors. I remember several months ago, we're still a young organization as a nonprofit, but several months ago, we had, a gentleman, one of our leaders came and he had, how will I put it? I'm trying not to be explicit in the story, but he had opportunities accessible to him, and he wanted to present that to more African people within the place where he worked, which was a federal parastatal, and we literally worked with him to create a pathway for our people. He went to get the curriculum, get prospective interview questions. Like we went through sessions building out a plan, a game, a playbook to help people get jobs in that space. That's the power. This is opportunities. These are organizations that typically we're not even considering or exploring. Somebody who had gone ahead said, "Hey, I know there's a deficiency of our people in this realm, and I want to see more of my people be in here. Like we want to get more people in that look like us, that behave, that's from our background." And so that's the power of community. That's the unfair advantage that this network gives you, right? Yes, your immigration status matters, right? Having a green card is super important. You need to have your papers, you need to have your status. But community is often the key that accelerates opportunity for us, right? And it's important that we keep that in mind. We face a lot of challenges as immigrants, right? Whether it's access to information, it's always our info. Our access to information is random Google searches, right? It's what the people who you meet. We always talk about how your initial connections, your initial contacts when you arrive, determine your future in the country. Someone said the first five people in your network determine the next 5 years of your life when you arrive here in the United States, and that's very powerful. It's a very powerful illustration. Access to information is a challenge because it's almost always limited to who you meet when you meet them. Opportunities are limited, right? Everything is not available to us. I remember going through the H-1B process when my company was at the time was doing my paperwork to go from my OPT status to my H1 status. One of the things they have to do is, or not from OPT to H1, but H1 to green card. They have to list your current position publicly, or advertise for it and make sure that there's no natives who are interested or that are qualified to do it as good as you are. So the opportunities are made available first, right, to people born here, citizens, before it's available to immigrants who are transitioning. So it limits the amount of opportunities available to us in the fields we are available to that we can play in. Right. So there's challenges that we face. You come into a place, depending on where you land. If you're fortunate to land in a Houston or an Atlanta, Dallas, some of the cities that have a strong immigrant presence, then it's it helps. But some people start their journey, as students, and they are going to. I started at Wilmington, North Carolina. There was a very limited network of African people. The only network of mine was my family that was down there that made me go there in the first place. Right. So it is not, you get to deal with like you're by yourself navigating this journey in this new country. So these are some of the challenges, right? We get to, there's this almost limiting belief where we're like, hey, I need to get this. I am limited in the opportunities available to me, until I get my green card. When honestly, I've seen people thrive again through that journey by leveraging the community, leveraging opportunities available to them within the network. It's a very global economy that's operational today, right? And there's again, I will never advocate for breaking the laws of the land where we are. So if the requirements, you can't work, but you can still earn other ways. You can still earn outside. But again, it's your if you're not in the right network, you will not know what opportunities are available to you, right? Those practical connections are more powerful than even I've seen people with their green cards that are citizens and they still can break through in career. They're still doing things, they still live in this limiting or limited mindset. They still work in these limiting belief systems. And so they are not maximizing the opportunities that's available to them. They're not living out the full potential that's promised, right, in the American dream. And so it's not just your paperwork is good and it should be priority. But that's, don't downplay the power of your community, right? It's that's the one thing I want to really highlight through this conversation. We always, we're in this situation. A lot of us come to the US. If you again, I always use myself as a case study. Coming at 24, going on 25 at the time, and already had my bachelor's and I was coming for my master's. A lot of us come at least with one degree or working towards one degree, maybe some with 2 degrees, right? Some people already have experience. There are people who I know who moved here in their 40s, right? Because they wanted to give their family something else. And so they were already in leadership positions, in their career back home. And they come here and then they have to start afresh, which is another challenge, right? We have to deal with that starting from scratch. Again, one of our things here at African American Collective is like we want to build an infrastructure, an ecosystem, providing resources for African immigrants so no one has to start from scratch because that's something we have to deal with all the time. Right? We'll always say, hey, it's okay to start from somewhere, but it doesn't have to be from scratch. We deal with that lack of mentorship to show us the ropes. And again, that's something that we want to, these are some challenges that we really are intentionally trying to tackle within the African American collective. These challenges, a lot of the time, again, your mentorship is almost community sourced, right? It's people who you connect to. If you are blessed with the right network and right community, it works out. But people have made mistakes, have gone the wrong direction, have taken the wrong steps, have ventured into careers that they have no passion for, or no background in, and they are miserable in their journey because of wrong examples being shown to them or people leading them in a path that worked for me, but everybody's path is not the same. So community is powerful, and I want to highlight why it's important, right? Your networks are your social capital. Your social capital often outweighs your credentials. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard people say things like your network is your net worth. Who you know matters. Who can you call that will open doors for you or that can hold doors open for you, right? Your network, a lot of the opportunities that you will get is, or you are exposed to, maybe not get, but exposed to. It's somebody saying, hey, there's an opening at my job. I will do a referral, right? That's your social capital. That's somebody sticking out and saying, hey, I'll hold this door open for you, or I'll show you where this opportunity exists. It's people within, if you're within a realm where your people are, when you see that people like in tech, it's almost like their circle of friends are in tech. People in medicine and the medical space, in nursing, you see their circle, it's in that realm, right? So that's the power of we almost, that's the power of influence within your social circle. That social capital is so powerful. It outweighs credentials, right? There's almost even the motivational component of it where you see your peers within the same realm attaining certain levels, and it's almost like you have to get there as well. It's almost your permission to go for that thing or explore that opportunity. So your networks are your social capital and it outweighs credentials. Mentors provide shortcuts that no textbook can give you. People who can be that shoulder to stand on. They show you shortcuts that you can learn anywhere. Nothing can give you that. And that's again leveraging mentorship within community, right? People say, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I've done. This is how I've done it. These are the mistakes I've made. You don't have to make the same mistake, right? That's why we create forums. We have our masterclass series and we have knowledge partners who are leading the charge in being mentors and saying, this is, while I'm not giving you legal counsel, but this is what has worked for me and this is the path I'll recommend. And now you are making informed decisions. That's the power of community. Right, we do this again, our weekly masterclass series. And again, if you're not part of the African American Collective and you're African navigating this journey in diaspora, please come on board. And you'll be amazed at the value that is being given away for free every week, every week. Just people coming and sharing for free from their wealth of experience and expertise and knowledge. The next, advantage of community is community ties create belonging. They reduce isolation, they spark resilience. You're not by yourself, right? You feel like, yes, I am going through this, but I don't feel like I'm doing it by myself. At least, even if it's a space to come vent, right, and say, hey, I'm exhausted, or it's going through it. Like there's a level of comfort that comes when people say misery loves company. There's 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 value to that where, okay, I'm navigating my journey. I'm trying to get through. Let's say you're waiting on your waiting season where USCIS is working on your papers. You're waiting to hear feedback, and then you run into other people who are navigating that same journey. It's encouraging. You just realize it's, it's not just me, right? Or you see people who have gotten theirs and have gone through, and I say, hey, that's how it felt for me. That's how I felt when I was going through it, and it felt like it was never going to be over, but look at me now, right? And that's a way to be encouraged and stay encouraged, right? So there's that sense of belonging. There's that. It's almost like you're pulling and you're drawing from the strengths of others to build resilience, right? Our relationships are bridges, honestly, like from where you are to where you're trying to go, and that's formed within communities. Within community. So again, when I say community is the green card, it's the real green card. It is, in my humble opinion, superior. It is like we need to be intentional about honing our connections, right? So quickly, what are some ways connections can create opportunities? One, information, access to information, right? Within the community, we share hidden job openings, resources, scholarships, valuable information. Today, or was it yesterday, someone posted within our community platform about how students can take advantage of Google Workspace. I didn't see that news anywhere. I saw it within the community that somebody shared that. Every other day, somebody's sharing new opportunity that is probably not listed, right? Maybe something internal and saying, hey, who is interested in this? That's the power of those hidden opportunities, job openings, scholarships, resources, those referrals, those are happening inside within closed doors, right? That's the power of community. Access to information. Another benefit of community and how connections create opportunities, referrals and recommendations. Again, I can't count the number of who works in this company. I need a referral. We know the power of internal referrals. Companies prefer to hire or explore. It's almost like a jump in your profile as an applicant when it's an internal referral. And so being in a space where people can give you that referral, the one thing I should say, don't like make sure you're willing to give as part of a community. As much as you want to take, also be willing to give. That's how it's mutually beneficial for everybody. I digress, with that point. But those referrals, those recommendations, we see them all the time. Where someone say, hey, there's opportunities within my organization. If you're qualified, send me your resume. I will refer you for this role. Or somebody's applying and say, does anybody work in this company? I need, I'd love a referral. That's like the community vouching for you. That opens doors faster than just code applications and hoping your resume gets picked out or hoping you jump through, you're able to get through. And companies, again, value those internal referrals even more than the random pool of applicants that they get. I'm pretty sure the economy the way it is today, job reports and all of that, it is a highly competitive job market. So imagine the value in having somebody on the inside saying, "Hey, I know this person and the work they've done." That automatically just puts you or brings you to the front of the line. Another opportunity or another benefit of connections and community is that skill and cultural navigation. Your community helps you understand workplace culture, soft skills, unwritten rules. This is always when we're having conversations, maybe at our mixers, you see people saying, "Oh yeah, don't do that," or "Oh yeah, this is what happened at my job." You learn how to navigate workplace culture within community, and even it's even more fun when it's at the same place of work when you run into other Africans and like, hey, they start giving you the the game behind the game, right? Within the organization, like, hey, listen, this is who you need to be talking to. If you need this is where you go. Those things might not be available during orientation for you. There's the orientation underneath the orientation, if you get what I mean. So I've been fortunate. I remember when I got a job with a very huge utility company here in the Atlanta area and massive company, one of the largest companies, if not the largest one, our largest employer of labor here in the state of Georgia. And I remember when my announcement was made, I clearly wasn't working there. Like, they hire you and then they put an announcement like, hey, this person is starting, resuming this job. We have a new database engineer coming in, da 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 da. And when a fellow countryman saw the announcement, I used to work there, he went to seek out my cubicle and literally came to find me. So it turned out that he came, I hadn't resumed by the time he came. And by the time I started, he was off. So he wanted to meet me before he went on vacation. But long story short, he came back, found me, and became a big brother for me at that place. Like literally, oh, you need to know this person. You need to spend time here. You need to listen to this person. You need to access, like, this is how you handle this. Literally, all of the connections, like he gave me the game. He showed me the way within that organization, how to act, who to be, who to navigate, who to play with, all of that, the rules of the game, because he was a veteran, and also older as well, older than myself by age, but also within the company, had been there a lot longer, significantly, I'd been there for a while. And I know the benefits, even beyond, it became a relationship that I still have to this day. It's to this day during my dad's 70th birthday, like he was there with his family. So that's how these things become personal relationships. That's the power of community. And then we talk about emotional and spiritual support. Having people who believe in you sustains you while you're pushing opportunities. I cannot tell you, I can't talk like this is so powerful. Just again, having people see like, hey, Namdi, hey, Stella, we love what you guys are doing. Keep going. This is something that we need, right? People are encouraging themselves, encouraging us. We are encouraging other people. And when we come together and somebody says, hey, I'm working on this, we have members of our team will gather every Tuesday for our volunteer meetings. And then, some of our members of our team will say, hey, I'm working on this thing now, or I'm exploring this, or I'm speaking at this place. And we're like, that's exactly what we want to see. Like we throw our weight behind our people to show them we support you, we believe in what you're doing, we stand with you, go for it, right? We want to see people rise. So we've seen people begin to even leverage the community to build their own businesses, build their own platforms out of what we started, like who've merged, and then they're literally taking our model and implementing and building similar things. And it's okay. Like it's the joy of, like, the impact has been multiplied in different spaces. So it's amazing to see that, to what community is there for. And that emotional support, that spiritual support, where somebody's like, hey, I'll hold your hands in prayer. Some days that's what you need. There's so many, it's so powerful. Like, again, I've shared so many stories just on the power of, community. I've had people who, we had a very powerful story, somebody who, while he was still in the home country, his spouse here joined the collective and was attending meetings and building a network, and then got him involved to start attending our programs. And so he started networking and started doing the groundwork, before he got here. It was the dopest thing to see them at our summit in June, two of them together, and just how excited he was to share about his journey. And even before getting here, leveraging the community and helping him just have that, not just a soft landing, but a head start. That's a powerful example of the power that the community has and how it can give you a head start, how it can propel you to success. So quickly, what are some steps to build your real green card, right? Your real, that means your community. One, join professional associations, join something, right? The African American Collective is open, it's free. We welcome everyone of African descent. Come and be a part of our movement and what we're doing, what we're building. But there's faith-based organizations. There's your indigenous community, your indigenous association for where you're from. Especially here, I live in Atlanta, there's pretty much everybody's community has an association here. Join that, connect to one. There's so many organizations that are doing great things, right? But get plugged in somewhere. We advocate for the African American Collective. Our mission is on the economic empowerment side of things, right? Advocacy, professional career building, workforce development. That's for us. For you, it might just be I want my children to know our culture. I want my children to speak the language. It's all depending on what your priority is. For some, it's hey, I want to stay connected to my faith and how I worshipped back home. That was just very meaningful to me. Find a place and join and get plugged in. Get plugged in somewhere. Don't just try to go at this thing without any by yourself and try to figure it out. Plug in somewhere, get plugged in, get involved. Align yourself with a community, a couple of communities that align with your values. Then internally, number two, seek mentors intentionally, right? Be intentional about connecting. I can tell you, like I've made a few connections in the last few months, and I told one of the people that I met, like again, from networking and connecting with other people, that like, hey, I'd love for you to be this mentor for me. Right, as I navigate this leadership roles that I'm exploring, this part of entrepreneurship and leadership and career advancement. You've done it. I'd love for you. And he said, I'll be honored to do it. Right. It's that intentional mentorship and just being intentionally connecting to people is powerful. So find mentors. Again, mentors are that they're like shoulders to lift you above because now they've made the mistakes on your behalf. If you would listen to them, you save time, you go faster, you go farther a lot faster, right? With avoiding mistakes and roadblocks because one, they're carrying you on their shoulders, they are showing you the path, and you're just advancing, you're just navigating it. And then number three, give before you ask. I've said this before. Don't just go for what you will get. The true value of community, the true value of your network is in the value you also bring in. You will receive in the dimension that you are willing to give. I think it's in the Bible, it's in Luke chapter 6, it says, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure pressed down. The same measure you meet is the same measure you will receive, right? That's what I was going. I'm not trying to ask you to give an offering, which would be good. We can donate to African American Collective, but that's not that good. But it's the same measure that you meet that you will receive. And so if you're looking to find ways to give, be an engaged member of the community. Don't just be one who is there to draw, to receive, to collect. What are you giving? Serve in a capacity, right? Whether it's a faith-based organization, whether it's African American Collective, whether it's your indigenous community association, your alumni association from your home country, school. Volunteer, serve in a capacity, volunteer to be a mentor, contribute in one way, or find a way to be involved. Before you start trying to draw from the community or drink from the well, make sure you are also pouring into it. All right. And then lastly, leverage digital communities, right? Again, we are very, very present. In fact, we're heavy online. All of our masterclass series happens online. Our next event in October is going to be hybrid. So there's going to be the in-person portion for people resident in Atlanta, but we're opening up to that digital space as well. So leverage digital communities. There's LinkedIn groups, there's Facebook groups, African American Collective groups, join and be a part of. But those are some practical steps that you can leverage to build your real green card, your community, basically, right? So, yes, today's whole gist has been about just the your papers, your documentation is super important and should be a priority, right? It will open doors for you legally from a legal perspective, or it's not a negotiable. You have to do your best to make sure that you are in status. But for sustained growth, for accelerated growth, especially navigating this journey as an immigrant, your community is what does that for you. Your network, your community, who is on that phone of yours, right? Your community is what will sustain, accelerate growth, right? So my challenge to you is, what community are you leading into, right? Which community are you building in this season? Again, there is so many places you can get plugged in. We have, again, the African American Collective is here for you to come be a part of. But for you, what's important to you? Right, I'm sharing and I'm inviting you to come be a part of what we're doing and what we're building, and us serving African immigrants, especially from the professional side of things, right? Helping us navigate the workplace culture to entrepreneurship to advocacy. Those are the things we do here at African American Collective. Um, but which one are you leaning into, right? I'm very involved in my church. I'm, very driven by faith. And so I'm very involved. I serve the same way I give and I serve here at African American Collective. I'm also immersed, in my spiritual side as well. Find your own realm and be plugged in. I be plugged in. Be plugged in. All right, that's all I have for today. Please, before you go, one, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments about your experience on this topic. Community is the green card, is the real green card. Let me know your thoughts around community and how you are leveraging community to advance. How community has helped you. I want to see some stories. I want to see some people share how they've leveraged their community to take it to the next level, whether it's your church, whether it's your indigenous community, whether it's your alumni association that you're plugged into. Let me hear your story. I want to hear your story. And secondly, please save the date, October 25th, here in Atlanta, Georgia, and also across the country. We are having our first ever advocacy and policy conference. And it's going to be value packed. We are wrapping up and rounding up all the logistics. Registration is already open. We are looking forward to it. It's going to be a very powerful event. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be amazing. The speaker outline. We want to get more of our people interested. We want to show us how we can get involved in policy, in advocacy, in we're here. The laws of the land affect us. We should be a part of the process, right? We should be part of the conversation. We should be involved. And that's what this conference is about, showing us the different opportunities that are available to us and how we can get plugged in, how we can get involved. There'll be different breakout rooms. There'll be panels on immigration. There'll be ones for, politics and office holders and people who are aspiring to sort things. Different, we have people from government, we have legal practitioners who are going to be present at this event. It's going to be powerful. We've not done anything like this before. We haven't seen it done to this capacity before. And so we're excited to really pioneer this. So please go sign up. We'll try to get this plugged in the description somewhere when this video goes live on YouTube or wherever it's going to go. But yes, that's I want to invite you to be a part of that. Right. So as I wrap up, I just want to say thank you for spending this time with me. And I look forward to coming back again next week, Thursday, with another incredible, exciting topic. But till then, keep thriving beyond borders. Let's win.